And we're live. Holy crap. Today I have a true celebrity on my Facebook wall. Mama, I made it if you're watching. How epic is this? I'm excited because this is the first time this is definitely the first time that I've had a chance to be even on the other side of a virtual screen with our guest. And then in a couple weeks to think he's going to be keynoting our 6th ever WebinarCon. How incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, this man needs no introduction, but help me welcome Prince EA. What's up, my friend?
Woo! Let's go, let's go. Such a pleasure to connect with you. I mean, this is it's been a long time coming because I've been a huge fan of you and what you do, and you've come on my screen for for years, man. So this is just as much of an honor for me as it is, I'm sure, for you. So thank you so much for making space.
Of course, it's too kind of you to say. Hey, listen, I have the biggest badge of honor that you're ever gonna wear. You ready?
Yeah.
I have a very close friend, and he's pretty much never impressed with the damn thing I do. I could go win the gold medal in the Olympics, and I think he'd be like, "Yeah, that's cool, man." And he's been like a friend of mine for 15 years. And when we announced that you're speaking at WebinarCon, this guy goes out of his way to message me. He's like, "Hey, man, good job. Like that's big shit." And I'm like, oh wow! All right, so we got some kudos from you. Good for you. I was like, oh, I gotta tell Prince this. We found a way to finally impress this human.
That's all.
No, but seriously, I'm so excited. I mean, you are by far one of the most viral creators, influencers. You've been doing this since before, creators was even a term and a thing. But I think even more than that, man, it's I don't know if you saw, I tagged you, and I don't know if you saw this. Someone commented underneath it, and they said that they use your videos in their therapy. And I'm like, talk about influence and reaching and empowering and inspiring someone. That's just at another level. So yeah, of course, you've got millions upon millions of followers, huge reach, you're viral as crap, you're a great marketer. But I think what's even just more exciting is just how much impact you've been able to have. And I can't wait for us to decode that and unwrap it and decompress that at the event where we talk about kind of your formula, how you create the videos, and everything you do from the marketing side. I just got to stay here. So by the way, everyone, if I haven't pitched you yet, WebinarCon, get your butts to it. November 10th to 12th, Ritz Carlton, Orlando. If you come just so you can get a chance to shake Prince's hand, I think that will be an investment far worth the effort to get there. So by the way, I do have a better price than Ron. So if you want the best price, reach out to me personally. For some reason, Ron has not gone in and deleted these coupons I keep creating. So just come reach out to me. I'll get you a much, much better deal. But you have to message me personally in order to do that. And it will not be my AI that replies. It will be me. So Prince, I got to hear from you. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get into this? How did you kind of journey into becoming a social media mogul? But there has to always have been like those humble beginnings. Like, what? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like how far should I go back? I was a lot of people who follow my career from the beginning, they know I was a musician. I was a hip hop artist. And so, I love, I always say music, hip hop, it saved my life. Like I was just this kid and the north side of St. Louis, didn't have much, and music just whoa, just inspired me. And but not only the musicality, but you could actually send messages with lyrics and cadence and metaphors, and that can impact people. And so for man, 5 years, that's what I did. I did music, and I was semi-successful. I worked with some Grammy Award winning artists. I got into magazines. I had a song on the radio, but there was a point inside of me where I just felt unfulfilled, and then I just quit. And everybody was like, "Prince, what do you mean? You're so successful. You're just now getting going. People are starting to recognize you. You've got a song on the radio. You're doing this." But somebody once said there's a difference between a good idea and a God idea. And all my life, I've had to parse through, okay, what's a good idea? What am I talented in? But what's that God idea? What am I really here to do? And once I really made that pivot, I started to look within myself. I started to read everything I could about, psychotherapy, about, spirituality, about the world around me and the world inside of me, and, things like meditation and, awareness practice. And I just started taking some of the skills that I learned as far as how to create engaging content through music. And I just use that in spoken word and speaking directly in front of the camera, some of the same skills, and it translated. And once I went from a I want to be a successful musician, I want to be on a world tour, I want to get a Grammy, to, man, how can I really serve, how can I really give as much as I can while I'm on this planet? This is, we only get a limited number of breaths. And I think so many of us, we're really wasting our breath if we're not really aligned with what we're doing. It's not about hustling. It's not about working harder. It's about aligning to what are you doing here? Why are you here? So when I really made that shift, that's when everything started to go crazy viral. And yeah, it was the science that I'd learned, and I'm always learning the science, but it's also that art. It's how you show up on camera. It's the heart, right? It's the vulnerability, right? It's the energy that you carry when you're speaking to your audience, when you're speaking in front of the camera. People really feel that, right? So it's not just quantitative, it's qualitative. It's like, what kind of energy do you have? Because energy, you can't really fake it. I mean, some people do, but you can't do it for very long. You feel it, but I think when you're really coming at it with sincerity, you're gonna win. Sincerity beats cleverness 10 times out of 10.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And that's why it's so powerful and so important to build a business around and talk about something that you truly care about, truly know about, truly love. Personally, I've been in the marketing space for 25 years,
Mm.
and I would have
Have
never
to love
thought.
it. You have to love
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, every day I'm like, dang it, I should do something different. I mean, I am now in the AI space, but still in the marketing space. And it's like, why? I absolutely love this stuff. I love it as much, if not more, than what 25 years ago when I started. But you
Listen.
you can't be something and excel at it unless you truly love it. And I think that's a really powerful message. So I pulled up a couple of really important notes from what you said. So you mentioned that there's a science, but then there's an energy, right? So there's the what, like how you plan the talk, and there is science to the way you put the video together. There is a formula there that helps communicate that message in a way that encourages it to go viral. But then the second component is how you communicate that message, right? So how you show up on video and the energy that you come with. And I think personally, it's a direct correlation to what we do with webinars. And I'm not like even trying to force connect this talk to webinars, but it's true. There is the slides you create, right? There's the psychology, the messaging. What messages do you want to get out? Where do you want to create a paradigm shift for someone? Where do you need to change their belief patterns? But then I've been a big proponent of this. I have literally said that you can put me on a webinar with no deck, no prep, and I can still deliver a killer result, because as long as it's a topic I know about, love, have a passion for, and it's an audience that I know, I'll communicate so authentically, effectively, and personally that they'll still buy. And that comes from like how I deliver that message, and the genuineness with which it comes out. But I love that, right? So like we're gonna decode that at WebinarCon. It's like, what is that science? What is that formula? But then specifically, it's like, all right, now tell us like how should it be delivered? Whether it be someone who's trying to go viral to drive traffic to their webinar, or directly correlating and using that on their webinar. I think that's powerful. I mean, Jason Fladley, I was just doing his interview, right? He's going to be keynoting at WebinarCon as well, and funny enough, comes from a musician background. I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend here, right? He was a
Well, it's the entertainment. It's the entertainment. Sorry, go ahead. Cut you
Yeah,
off.
no, I was saying he's a rapper, and then he became a monk. So I'm not sure where that fit in. And now he's
Okay.
but something to
Similar.
learn from the music industry. What were you gonna say? You were gonna connect the dots there.
Well, I call it edutainment. You educate and you also have to entertain at the same time. You really have to. And entertainment isn't, you don't have to wear a top hat and, make a show. But like you said, when you're showing up authentically, sincerely, enthusiastically. That's my favorite word, probably of all words, enthusiasm. It translates in theos, within spirit. So when you're speaking about something in a spirited way, that's going to translate, right? Because you're going to connect with people. And it's not about information, it's about connection. How do you connect with your audience? And that's what you say. You can just show up because people will, when you're speaking sincerely, they're going to trust you, right? And then they're gonna buy from you. They're gonna invest in you. So yeah, it's all about showing up clearly, confidently, and authentically.
I love that. It's absolutely true, and I can't tell people how many times, I'll have someone come up to me, and it happens at every event, everywhere I go, and they'll say, "God, I already feel like I know you." Like, and the truth is because they do. I mean, I I remember once, Prince, you'll like this. Long time ago, it's 20 years ago, some marketing guru, I'll spare names, told me, "You gotta have an avatar, kid." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "You gotta have an alter ego, like how you show up online, your brand." And I was like, it didn't connect. I'm like, "So I gotta be someone different?" And he's like, "You gotta show up different." And I remember going home that night thinking, I'm like, I have a hard enough time handling one of me. I sure as hell don't want two of me out there. It was just too much work. I was like, nah. And I remember telling myself, it's like, you know what? It's just going to be me. If that's enough, then that's enough. And if it isn't, then I'm going to find something different to do. But I don't like this idea of being two me's, different. Where so it's like, I am exactly how I show up. I'm the same person in real life. I'm the only difference I'll tell people is I'm a bit more introverted than I put off, right? So like on video and on stage, I'm dynamic, but I'm a little quiet on the other side, right? And people never believe that, but it's like actually some of the best presenters are usually the most introverted. Another thing I'll tell you, which connects directly back to what you were saying, I was teaching someone once how to speak on stage. Not something I ever do. It's just a friend, and they wanted my guidance. And they asked me something. They're like, "Hey, I was watching your videos." I had sent them a few videos of me talking on stage, and he's like, "Why do you keep like you'll walk into the audience, you'll walk back, you'll stop people, you engage. Like you keep interrupting your talk to do these other things." And I was like, you know what? I didn't even notice I do that. And he's like, "Well, why? Like, do I got to do that? It makes me uncomfortable." I said, I remember thinking, and I was like, you know what? Of course, your job as a presenter, as a speaker, is to embark education and information upon the audience. But you can't do that unless you have their attention. So it's almost like your first job is to get their attention and keep it. So I was like, the best thing I got for you, the best answer I can come up with is I do all of that stuff so I can keep their attention. And it's going right back to what you're saying, right? Edutainment. Like you got to have their attention first before you can deliver a message. But yeah, go ahead. You were going to add to that.
Well, I mean, I got so much because you're just so good at at speaking and storytelling, right? That's another thing that I'm going to share on stage, right? It's like never make a point without a story, and never tell a story without a point. That storytelling, I mean, if you want to the quickest way to go from point A to point B is not a straight line, it's a story, right? So how do you wrap stories? How do you tell stories? That's really how you connect. Because our brains, they don't care about numbers, information, blah, blah, blah. But if you can wrap all of that into a story, man, you've hooked people and you're able to connect with them. And so I can't wait to kind of share my storytelling method at the WebinarCon.
Can't wait for that either. Where do you think you learned that? Is that going back to the musician side? Like, because all songs tell a story typically, right?
Yeah, it could be. I just love stories. I don't know. Maybe childhood, maybe the childhood. The fairy tales. I just love wisdom tales, wisdom stories. They just, as the kids say, they hit different. They hit different. When you're really telling the story. And I think we still, I mean, if you think about neuroscience, right? Our brains, our personality is developed from 0 to 7, right? 0 to 7, right? This is the brain that we're kind of walking around with. So if you're trying to communicate a message, you don't want to communicate some super complicated academic, super information densely packed idea. You want to tell a simple story, right? That can actually hit the subconscious mind. So I love stories. But I think I love them because I love listening to them. I love hearing them, and so when I tell them, I really like can kind of it's a whole body experience. When I tell a story because I try to put myself there. Mm.
That's amazing, man. I love the way you put that, and I love the way you kind of eloquently described stories and how important they are, because it's, I feel like most people, going back to what you said, like nobody wants the data intensive, but that's so counterintuitive, right, Prince? Like most people think if I gotta teach, I gotta get into the details and the minutia. That's how I deliver value. And turns out that's actually not true. And that's, by the way, one of the biggest things we see in webinars that I have to rip out is I have to say, you got to take out 70% of what you're talking about, because you're trying to get them from, you're trying to literally turn them into a master in 90 minutes, which took you, 9 years. And all you need to do is convince them of a simple idea and change their identity around that idea, and you're doing way too much and you're losing them. So, and by the way, I speak like I'm very powerful at that. I have to remind myself of this all the time, because I tend to do it too. Right? I get into it, I get into something, and I think everyone's got the same level of knowledge about it that I do, and I can just jive. Anyways, we could go on forever, and I'm not going to do it. These people cannot get more Prince without coming to WebinarCon. That's the deal, everybody. This is going to be Prince's first time at WebinarCon, so let's make him have an absolutely epic time. I'm excited. I cannot wait to learn from you. I cannot wait to, gosh, I hope we do a fireside chat, and I hope I get to lead it, because I got all kinds of questions for you, and I'm going to be excited to see. So everyone, there you go. WebinarCon, November 10th to 12th, Orlando, Florida. Come meet Prince, shake his hand, learn from him. He's going to talk about storytelling. He's going to talk about the science of going viral, and he's going to reveal how you deliver your message and how that impacts virality. If you want a super special price that even Ron won't give you, sorry, Ron, I'm just picking on you. Guys, Ron obviously knows about this, and he's awesome, and he's nice. I just like to pick on him because why not? But yeah, message me. You have to reach out to me directly, or you can go to webinarcon.com and pay a little bit extra. Your choice. All right, everybody. As I always say, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, and push it the heck back. Prince, can't wait to
Let's
see
go.
you in a couple weeks, man. Thank you so much.
See you, everybody.